Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded. I'm your host, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. I have been studying mind mastery and emotional management and its connection to spirituality for over 25 years. In this podcast, I help guide you out of your daily struggles in life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality. Life is hard, but your daily growth doesn't have to be. Join me 3 times a week as I lead you inward on a healing, creating, and connecting journey. Let's go get the nugget of inspiration. Hey ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I'm finding you living your life in the present moment. If you're not living your life in the present moment, then it is my intention that in today's episode I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. So yesterday on the last episode, we talked about the movie The Grinch and the foundational emotion of that movie and how you can implement that in your life. And so because it's the holidays, it's currently December 18th, I believe, that I'm recording this. And I love Christmas movies, and I often find myself watching them on repeat. The Grinch and The Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life are my favorite. It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite, and then The Grinch and then The Christmas Carol, both with Jim Carrey. Jimmy Stewart in The Wonderful Life. Jim Carrey didn't do It's a Wonderful Life. And so today I want to talk about The Christmas Carol, and I'm sure you've seen the movie, and if not, go see it. There's several, I want to say, renditions of that movie, and some are better than others. And the one I like the most is the Jim Carrey episode, the Jim Carrey movie, just because I love Jim Carrey. And I love the idea of looking out into our life of the songs and the movies that draw us in for some reason, that resonate with us in some way. And I think paying attention to what is triggering us is such a great way to give us a really fine reflection or a peek inside what's going on in our energy. So whether something outside of us is triggering us, is to get to the base of that, to release that trigger. That's showing up because it's showing me something that is inside of me that is resonating with that. So remember our tuning forks, right? And they will match frequency. So if something outside of us is happening that really shows a strong emotion inside of us, that means the frequency is a match. If it's negative, I want to clear it. If it's positive, I want to do more of it. So when I look at these Christmas movies and A Christmas Carol, and this is where you are, Ebenezer is visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And it gives him a glimpse of his life. And I think as I'm watching that movie and I'm watching it and I'm in it and I'm like, okay, what is my past like? And what have I been doing? And what do I need to change? And I look at my present and I'm like, okay, these are the things that are going on currently. And it's given me this quick perspective. And then my future, if I'm on this path, this is what my future is going to look like. And it gives me a really broad perspective that I really like and that I really enjoy. And when I watch that movie, it gives me this idea of here I am in space and time. What do I want to do? And how do I want to look at my life from the past? And if I continue on this path, what does my future look like? Well, as we're wrapping up 2022 and heading into 2023, and people are starting to make their New Year's resolutions, or they're starting to look at their lives, and they're trying to figure out where I am, what am I doing, where am I going, what changes do I want to make? And I feel like life is such it's such a hard experience, because if you don't know the inner workings of your energy, and you don't have to know all the grand details, it definitely helps for you to decipher the things that are going on around in your life. Like, you don't need to know all of the details about the chakras, but it definitely helps to understand which chakra goes to what, so you can work on them when things show up in your life. Because the biggest point and the biggest thing to understand is that life outside of you is a reflection of your inner energy, your inner frequency. The life outside of you is a mirrored image of all of the frequencies that you have going on. So the more inner work that you can do, the better your outside looks. So when things show up in your life that trigger a negative emotion, if you can sit back and go, okay, what is that negative emotion? Get all the way to the bottom of it, feel it all the way through, heal that energy. Now that negative thing may still happen, but it doesn't trigger you. It doesn't trigger you into this negative spiral. Because if you spiral into a negative, you just begin to see more and more negative, and then your body starts to really feel the negative response and starts to not feel good. And it affects your health. It affects your relationships. First, it affects you, and then it goes outward and affects everything outside of you. You start seeing more negative. Your interactions are more negative. So what I want to encourage you to do is, as you are going out into the world and you're listening to music and you're watching movies and you're engaging with people, is when those things show up, it's giving you a glimpse, and then you can expand on it or you can clear it. So today, as we talk about the Christmas Carol, I want to give you a glimpse into your life. So as we look at our past and we want to change our future, we have to change a couple of things. We have to change the words that we're using. We have to change our emotional response, which is directly linked to the words you're using. And then we have to change our behavior, how we respond to that emotion. And sometimes the emotion gets the better of us. But it's all about looking back for the lessons, looking forward for the inspiration, but staying present in the moment so you can make the change. And when we stay in that present moment, there we can work directly with our emotional state to start drawing that future inspiration towards us. We become magnetic. So let's explain. Let's go further. So we look to the past for our lessons. So the things that you are experiencing are immediately in the past. As soon as you hear the song, it's in the past. As soon as you watch the movie, it's in the past. As soon as you have the experience. Then you go into the present moment and go, okay, looking at that past experience. So if we take this movie, we look at the past experience and say, okay, what have I done? What choices have I made? And then you take a glimpse in the future and go, what do I want to change? What do I want to be different? And then you get into that present moment and you make the changes in the present moment. When you do that, you become inspired. You find the joy. Your relationships get better. Things feel differently, and you start to draw that future towards you. But you have to look in the past just to look there, not to spend all day there complaining about the things that you've done. It's to look there, to look for the lesson. What worked? What didn't work? And how can I use that to propel or to create a different future? How can I use that? That's all you're looking at the past for. Then looking in the future for your inspiration. As you are going through your day-to-day experience, you are sifting through different things that you want to experience and things that you don't. Oh, that was good. I hated that. That was awesome. That felt good. And you can decipher within there, what is the emotion that was at that experience that I disliked, or the emotion that was at that experience that I did like. And then when you get in there, you can say, okay, I liked feeling gratitude. Great. Now in the present moment, I'm going to start talking about things that I'm grateful for. Oh, that was very frustrating. I don't like frustration. Great. I'm going to go into my body where frustration showed up with that experience, and I'm going to clear that energy so I can feel something different. And when frustration is gone, what emotion do I want to feel instead? It really becomes this magical turn of events, if you will, as you start to clear the different vibrations in your frequencies, in your energy that don't feel good. And you start to clear those. It becomes a lot of work, but once you get good at it, you start to clear that energy out, and you start to bring in new emotions, new emotional states that feel better. Gratitude, joy, love, clarity, passion, inspiration, right? You get rid of frustration and you bring in what? Happiness. Great. Now you feel more happiness because you put that out into the world. You put that out into the universe and says, I want to feel more happiness. And the universe goes, okay, you want more experiences like this. Great. I will show you more experiences like this. And you will become, in that moment, with those emotions and this kind of work, more present in your life. And that's what I got from this Christmas Carol, is to become more present. He's very locked onto his future, hoarding his money for some future event. But instead, as he's going through life and he's seeing Christmas carols and he's seeing Bob Cratchit, who's struggling day to day with his life, and he's like, well, why should I make your life better? That's up to you to do that. He's got great lessons in there, but he's not doing it because he's not living in the present. He's living in the future. So it's a trick where you really have to get good at projecting your mind into different places, into the past to receive the lesson, even if it's 5 seconds in the past, to receive the lesson. And then you project it out into the future of, what do I want to change? How do I want to feel? I want to feel differently. I want my life to feel more expansive, but calm, more joy, but clarity. I want my business to get bigger in a way that I'm serving more people. And those people are listening to my podcast, or they're taking part in my coaching, or they're a part of my groups, and they're getting that inspiration and they're understanding how to work with the energy of our bodies, of our emotions, the energy of our thinking, and the energy of our focus. Where do I put my focus? Because if we're not waking up, if we're not taking the time to really become present in our lives, you're sleepwalking through life. And eventually something so tragic is going to happen in your life that is going to wake you up. And I'm suggesting, let's wake up before that tragedy happens. And how do we do that? By being on purpose, living our life with purpose, on purpose. So we're looking at our emotional state. We're thinking about our thinking. What are we thinking of every day? What are the words that come out of our mouth? Are we complaining? Are we victimizing? Are we rehashing the crap that happened the day before? Or are we looking forward and being present and looking for the joy and the happiness in the present moment, taking a deep breath and becoming grounded in this day, in this moment? You can't always live right here. You have to teeter-totter with your thought, back to the past, back to the future, out to the past, right, back and forth, looking for the inspiration, looking for the lessons. But being in the present moment as much as we can to do the work. I always say this is the work, and everyone's like, I don't want to do the work. But when you do this kind of energy work, things happen so swiftly and so quickly. So here's your homework for the day. I want you to go watch the movie. I want you to find, there's probably 17 different versions of this movie. I want you to go find it. You can watch the short Mickey Mouse version. You can watch the long, old 1952 version. You can watch the Jim Carrey version that has a little bit more humor in it. And I want you to journal the lessons from your past. Again, 5 seconds in the past, 12 minutes in the past, 12 years in the past, doesn't matter. Find the lessons. What are the emotional states that you love? What are the emotional triggers that felt uncomfortable? And then work on clearing those. Then I want you to go to the future. What if you stay on this path, doing the things that you're doing, saying the things that you're saying, and behaving in those same ways, feeling the same stuck emotions? What is your future going to look like from this point in time? We can always change our future. We can always change our future. If I continue on this path where I am right now, saying what I'm saying, feeling how I'm feeling, and behaving in this way, this is going to be my future a year from now, 10 years from now. Is that a future I want? Okay. If you go back in time and you say, okay, if I change these behaviors into something different, I exercise daily, I meditate daily, I start doing this energy work. Now, from that point of doing that type of behavior and thinking and feeling, now what is my future going to look like? 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 12 years from now. It's going to be drastically different, I guarantee you. So have you ever watched Back to the Future? And when it's in, I think the second one, where they're in the garage and Doc pulls out the whiteboard and he pulls this point of time and he draws this horizontal line, and Marty McFly is standing there and he's trying to understand how come when we went back to 1984, it's different than that 1984. And he's like, because when we went back in this point of time, we skewed the timeline. And then he draws a line down from that parallel line and makes another timeline. That can be your future. Something different. Because the experience that you have right now is the result of your past thinking, your emotional state, and your behavior, your actions. This is what created this experience that you have right in this moment. So if I want something different, I have to talk different, which is easy. Remember, talk is cheap, right? I could say all kinds of things. The more I say things and I get into alignment with what I'm saying, then my emotional response is different. Go back and listen to The Art of Affirmations. Go back and listen to that and understand how we use words or what to say when we talk to ourselves. I think it's season 3, number 31. I'll look it up. But that is the one that begins to show you how your words affect your emotional state. And then in your emotion is when you become the attraction. It's when you become magnetic to the world, to the universe, and bringing you what it is that you're feeling. It's all about how you're feeling, but your words directly relate to your emotional state. So when you are wanting something different, you have to start saying different things. You have to start feeling, emitting a different emotional state. And then you behave differently based on that emotion. But the emotion is the meat of the sandwich. But we have to use our thinking to get there. We have to use our words to get there. When Ebenezer comes out of that whole dreamland, when he went in and visited all of these ghosts of the present, past, and future, and he comes back, his emotional state is different, which allows him to talk differently, act differently, because he feels different. So he got a glimpse, and he got the gift of to go back and to see all these different points in time and to make a decision. Do I want to change? Because he looked at his future and he's like, oh, heck no. Do I want to go through that? Do I want to feel that way? No, I don't. So he decided, he made that decision. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to talk differently to Bob Cratchit. I'm going to talk differently. I'm going to donate my money. I'm going to do something different that elicits a new response in the body. Once I get that new response in the body, then I'm away, I'm going, I'm off and running, because now everything feels different. So that's really the work. And I'll keep telling you, that's the work. That's the work, that's the work, that's the work. But it becomes easier when you start moving to the present moment. When you start looking at your life and you start going, okay, I need to start talking differently. I want a different future. Because the future that I'm about to have is not going to be the most amazing future in my life. And I want something to be different. I want my life to be different. Because a year from now, are you still going to weigh the same? A year from now, are you still going to have the same financial struggles? A year from now, are you still going to have the same relationships? Keep what you want, change what you don't. Keep the emotional states that you want to feel. Figure out how you can bring more of that into your life. And change what you don't. The emotional states that don't feel good, change them. Discard them. Release that energy. I do a lot of videos on my podcast and a lot of podcast episodes where I talk about releasing the energy. So you can find it pretty much anywhere on these podcast episodes. But I'm also on Facebook, so you can ask. You can ask those questions like, okay, you talked about this in this episode, please help me. Like, I want to understand how to do that. And I'll be more than happy to guide you. You go to Facebook, go to Lady Rising, ask a question. Go to Chakras for Beginners, ask a question. That's where I'm at. Or you can friend me on Facebook, Jen Mac, JenMac. Send me a friend request, send me a message. I'll be happy to speak with you. This becomes the work. And then it becomes a life that you want to live. Ebenezer didn't really enjoy loving and living that life, but just like the Grinch, he became addicted to that pain because it was getting him what he wanted. I don't want people around me. My frequency is a 1. I don't want carolers coming in or my nephew coming in at a 10 and trying to invite me to dinner or get my money or sing and bring joy. I can't resonate with that. My frequency is too low. And I don't want that around me. So bah humbug, get out of my face, right? No, you don't need a day off on Christmas. You be here, 7 o'clock all the earlier on the day after Christmas, right? You can have a half, you know what I'm saying? So he can't resonate with that until he took a glimpse into his past to see his choices that were creating that future. And he decided he didn't want that future. So I ask you, what future do you want? What do you want to create? And then What thoughts and words do you need to change? What emotional state do you need to release to bring in something that feels better so you can start collectively moving up the line? I'm here to support. If you have questions, you need some support, you need some answers, please reach out. I'm here for you. Go watch that movie, start analyzing, start looking in the past for your lessons, start releasing the negative emotions that don't work and expanding the emotions that do feel amazing. Go into your future and say, from this timeline, from this point in time, what do I want to change about my finances? What do I want to change about my job or career? What do I want to change about my relationships and my health and my spiritual connection? This is when the magic happens. And I hope you do this work. I hope that you'll get your journal out and you'll start becoming present and start working at this emotional state, because I know your life will become the Christmas Carol and you will have that present moment experience of joy. I look forward to hearing about your story.